My genius son decided to go for a ride to the beach with his mate, and on the way back they're jumping over gutters, and because he's my son, he got to ride my bike and he made his mate ride the girl's bike. This is Susan's bike. And on the way back, he busted the back tyre on my bike so badly that it wrapped the inner tube around the cogs. I'm not sure how he did it, but he just kept riding until he shredded it to pieces. And then he thought it'd be a good idea to jump on the back of Susan's bike, holding my bike and the two surfboards. And they continued to jump over gutters and make their way home until this was how the bike arrived home. A little bent, out of shape. It kind of still looks like a bike, but it can no longer fulfill its purpose. The chain is off. It is powerless to go anywhere, even if the wheel wasn't this bent. The front tyre, somehow they also managed to get that all tangled up, and it was flat, and the brakes are all bent out of shape, and so even if you could start, you can't stop. There's a lot wrong with this bike. I just wondered this morning, as I saw the bike, it just made me think about you. This morning, my question is, do you ever feel like there's something wrong with you? Do you ever feel a little bit bent out of shape? Like there's something a bit broken on the inside, you start doing some things that you really know are causing you some damage, but you can't stop. And maybe you feel a little bit powerless to change, and maybe you feel just a little bit broken and bent out of shape. You ever ask the question, in your darkest moments, is there something wrong with me? I'm going to get straight to the point today and say, yes, there is something wrong with you. Welcome to Gateway. It's great to have you here. Today, everyone who comes through those doors is welcome. But there is something wrong with you. You're broken by sin. Sin kind of gets us all bent out of shape and broken. Life gets a bit wobbly because of sin. Life gets bent out of shape because of sin. And sometimes we feel powerless to change because of sin. And sometimes we start doing something that's actually causing us some damage. And we just can't stop. I just wonder whether today we need God to do some of his handiwork in us. Some of us here today would say, life's a little bent out of shape. And what Paul wants us to understand is, if you're sitting here this morning going, I know there's something broken in me, but I don't want anyone to know. I know there's something a bit bent out of shape, but I don't want anyone to know. What Paul's making it very clear is that we're all in the same boat. Like the rest, by nature, we were deserving of wrath. But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ. It is by grace that you have been saved. You have been saved from the penalty of sin. Nothing will separate you from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. Day by day, you're being saved from the power of sin that's still getting us a bit bent out of shape. And one day, you'll be saved from the very presence of sin and nothing will get bent out of shape ever again. It's the good news of the gospel. When we understand how good it is. See, this is where our identity is so important. When we understand our identity, we understand the goodness of God. You know, it'll shape the story of our lives. We understand how much we are loved, we'll love others in the same way. When we understand how much we've been forgiven, we'll forgive others in the same way. When we understand this life that is a life of abundance we've been given in Christ, we will live life to the full. When we understand how amazing God's grace is to us in Christ Jesus, we will do everything we can to share that grace with others. It's good. We got to get it. Our identity, who we are in Christ, it will shape the story of our lives. It'll shape our future.